want justice. We 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 want justice. Justice. Justice.
1, 2, 3. Inqilab! 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 अरे हक से मांगो आजादी! अरे हक से मांगो आजादी! अरे जोर से मांगो आजादी! अरे जोर से मांगो आजादी! अरे जोर से मांगो आजादी! अरे मनुवाद से आजादी!
What is happening in India with the CAA is very concerning and is violation of basic human rights enshrined in the Indian Constitution. We Indian Americans of all faiths stand in solidarity with the brave civil disobedience movements in India and condemn the horrific police brutality against protesters. We urge the police in India to show restraint. To the women of Shaheen Bagh in Delhi, India, we are inspired by your courage and we stand shoulder to shoulder. Shaheen Bagh Zindabad!
Shaheen Bagh!
Shaheen Bagh Zindabad! Shaheen Bagh
Zindabad! Shaheen Bagh Zindabad!
We call on for the Indian government's immediate withdrawal of Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Registry of Citizens. We believe that the fight for equal treatment of Indian Muslims is also fundamentally a fight for India's foundational values of secularism and democracy. This is the first of the future. This is the fight for the future, which must be led by those who will inherit the future. India has always accepted people of all faiths, and we support India providing rehabilitation to all the persecuted minorities regardless of their faith. I have a message for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The world is watching, and the people of all good faiths have come together to say never again.
Never again!
Never again! Never again!
Never again! Never again!
Never
again! Never again! Never again! Never again!
Thank you. Thank you. There are a number of organizations that are supporting us today, and we will acknowledge them as they come here. I will request Brother Shan and the kids to come up here to do the Pledge of Allegiance of America. Brother Shan and Sister Fauzia. Brother Shan, where are you?
Okay, Imran. Exactly.
Alright guys, let's do Pledge of Allegiance. Come on guys, let's do Pledge of Allegiance please.
We offer the pledge now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Anjula, thank you very much, Anjula. This is our future right here. Now we are going to sing Indian National Anthem. May I request few people? We all will sing the Indian National Anthem.
Let's do Indian National Anthem, Jana Gana Mana. Alright. Jana Gana Mana Adinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Tamil Kerala Himachal Yamuna Ganga Utshana Jaladi Taranga Tab Shubha Name Aage Tab Shubha Ashish Maage Jaaye Tab Jaya Gata Jana Gana Mangala Dayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He
Hello friends, इंडिया में जो anti-CAA protests हैं, they are being led by students and by women. I want to salute them. We are all here to salute the women of Shaheen Bagh and so many other places. Jamia, JNU. These women have, don't tell me what to say. These women have actually put their bodies on the line. They are organizing democratically. There is no leadership, but they are coming up from the ground and they are showing us how to do a peaceful political protest. हम क्या चाहते? हम क्या चाहते? हम क्या चाहते? ऊंची आवाज से
Thank you. And the first people deserve to thank them are the police of the state of New York. Let us thank the police. Let us thank the mayor. Let us thank all the people of New York who are supporting us. And finally, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, maybe you'll ask why this Lebanese man is standing among the Indians. My grandkids from India, takbir. I love them more than I love myself, takbir. And I want them to have the citizenship of India, takbir. And nobody is not supposed to prevent not to have a land and have a flag and have a country. And if the Indian people want to not to give you your land and the grandfatherland, you have to have the ask for justice for that. Thank you for having me here. May Allah bless you, and we can see ourselves in India soon, inshallah, with your land, and may Allah reward you. Thank you so much.
What is the world doing about this murderous violence and oppression? Where are all the countries who do business with India daily and invest in the Indian economy? Why has India gone the way of Stalinist nationalism and not followed the path of Gandhi's nonviolence? When did India decide that their model would be what Burma is doing to the Rohingya and what China is doing to the Uyghurs, and the many other examples of cruelty and exclusion and slaughter?
Capture the point. Yeah, can you capture just for the next 5 minutes?
And finally, how did India decide that, how does this contribute to democracies being democratic, to neighbors being neighborly, to world peace and security? We Jews have experienced and died through this same process.
Okay, so this is Reverend Chloe Bayer from the Interfaith Center of New York.
Imran, use your mic. Imran.
Good afternoon, New York City. And it's an honor to be here, if a very sad one. I bring greetings from the Interfaith Center of New York and St. Philip's Episcopal Church in Harlem. At the Interfaith Center, we work to show the world how important it is for religions to work together, because that makes our democracies stronger. We also show that hatred and violence against one tradition is hatred and violence against all traditions. be turned away just as my Christian friends were turned away at Chennai. This does not make it right because our two countries are suffering from the same disease. It is a disease of amnesia. We have forgotten what true strength means. True strength is not in nationalism where we sacrifice our basic human rights. True strength is in democracy where we are judged not by the color of our skin, but as Martin Luther said, the content of our character. So that's the reason I'm here out supporting all of you, saying the CAA is not part of an India that I know and love and take inspiration from. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Reverend Chloe Bear. She's a person who has been fighting with us for a long, long time. An interfaith activist and a leader in interfaith community. Thank you, Chloe Bear. Thank you so much. Next, I would like to invite a very special person. I want to invite Robert Fishman. He is from the Holocaust Center in Nassau County. The Holocaust Center, we have been working with Holocaust Center for the last 15 years with the big help from the chairman of Holocaust Center, Steve Markovich. Robert Fishman is a board member of Holocaust Center and he's going to say a few words to our community. Thank you, Robert.
Use this? Yeah. Just stand it up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I am a second-generation Holocaust survivor. My mother was one of the lucky ones that survived. Most of her family was not as fortunate. As a board member of the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County, I am all too familiar with the dangers of prejudice, religious intolerance, and hate. Tomorrow, Monday, January 27th, marks the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, the Nazi death camp, where the world saw the most horrific example of where hate can lead. This is the place where several of my family members perished at the hands of the Nazis. Auschwitz is also a reminder of the world's failure to stop genocide. The Nazis murdered 6 million Jews before the war finally ended. I stand here with you all today because the events in India are dangerously reminiscent of the events in Germany in the 1930s. History does in fact repeat itself. While we connect the tragic lessons of the Holocaust, we see the world itself as a capital H. That's what the word Holocaust means. Due to it being government sponsored, we cannot allow the same to happen here. To quote George Santayana, those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We must remember, we must be aware. The combination of the National Register of Citizens in Assam and the Citizen Amendment Act, that specifically excludes one religious group, Muslims, from being eligible to claim citizenship is eerily reminiscent of the Nazi invalidation of Jewish citizenship in Germany. You see, this is how it all began. Who knows how it will end up? The creation of detention centers in Assam and the potential for the deportation of Muslims is also frightening. We saw the rounding up of Jews in the 1930s and 40s. Again, this was just the beginning of the horrors. We cannot accept the rounding up of the Muslims the same way today. 80 years ago, the world failed to stop the Holocaust. 80 years from now, we cannot have it said that we failed to stop the deportation and genocide of Muslims in India. We must remember, we must be aware, we must take action now.
Thank you, Mr. Fishman. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give him a hand. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. At this point, I would like to invite Sunita. Sister Sunita.
Salam alaikum.
Salam.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm Sunita from Hindus for Human Rights. And I'm incredibly proud of everyone who joined here today. I have just returned from a month in India, traveling with and bearing witness to the courageous resistance in the land of my birth to Hindutva, Hindu nationalism, which is a monstrous its reign of hatred here in the States with its walls and its Muslim bans, or Modi's reign of hatred in India with its blatant assault on minorities, especially Muslims and Dalits, its mob lynchings, the disaster of demonetization which helped the poorest of the poor, the relentless arrests and torture of anyone who raises their voice, and most recently, the lockdown of Kashmir. It's now been 174 days, and no, there is no internet in Kashmir, and no, the schools have not been opened in Kashmir. Everything is not okay in Kashmir. Everything is not okay in India. The stunningly unjust Supreme Court decision in the matter of Babri Masjid, and all this with the chilling backdrop of assurances from the Hindutva leaders that this is a Hindu Rashtra and this is non-negotiable. Do we agree?
No!
Are we going to resist?
Yes!
I must say I wasn't feeling hopeful when I went to India, but today I am feeling so much hope. You see, the Modi government miscalculated. When they introduced CAA, they made a mistake. They went too far. These heinous laws and actions that make religion a prerequisite of citizenship is not okay with us, and it's not okay with Indians. They clearly underestimated the people of India and the secular spirit of India. How could I not have hope given the breathtaking oceans of protest in every corner of India? Brave and leaderless protests, decentralized, spontaneous protests, protests the size and scope of which I have never seen in my life, and perhaps we haven't seen since the days of the freedom struggle. I want you to know, especially about the less known protesters. I met Hindu priests in the holiest cities of Ayodhya, Varanasi, and Haridwar. They are bravely opposing the government as Hindus. I want to name them. Mahant Yugal Kishore Sastri of the Ram Janki Mandir in Ayodhya. Mahant Rajesh Tiwari of the famous and very sacred Kashi Vishwanath Temple in Varanasi, and Mahant Vishwambarnath Mishra of the Sankat Mochan Hanuman Mandir in Varanasi, and the sadhus and sadhvis in Haridwar who are fasting in protest of this government. These are brave Hindu religious leaders who are with us today. You see, there is nothing Hindu about the bigotry of BJP and RSS. Nothing about it is Hindu. It's a lie. Core Hindu teachings that are taught to all of us, even little kids, like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one sacred family, including you and me. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. We devote ourselves to the well-being of all of creation. And Atiti Devo Bhava, which means that our guests, strangers, people from far-off lands are God to us. This Hinduism of love and inclusion is being hijacked by those who are monsters, by those who only know hatred. As a progressive, inclusive, anti-caste Hindu, I say no to BJP, no to RSS, no to CAA.
No to CAA.
Hum dekhe
Alright, we'll have the next speaker. May I request everybody to get off the stage, please? Thank you so much. Please. Please, everybody get off the stage first.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Can I ask? Can I call Dr. Ubaid Sheikh onto the stage?
Sure.
Can I also call Delwar Hussain Mazumdar? Can I also call Delwar Hussain Mazumdar to the stage?
Okay, you can call Tanveer Ahmed. Go. Tanveer Ahmed.
Can I call Stephen Shaw? Stephen Shaw!
They're not there. Tanveer Ahmed is here.
He's here.
Come on. I'm here.
You're here? Okay, awesome.
He's here.
Hello, everybody.
Hello!
You guys are intimidating, and that's fantastic. My name is Stephen Shaw, and I'm here from Jewish Voice for Peace. Thank you for having us here today with you. Salam alaikum, namaste, and shalom to all of you. I want to get one obvious, just completely obvious statement out of the way, and that's that Jewish Voice for Peace, JVP, stands with the groups protesting the CAA and the NRC and the settler colonialism of Kashmir. We see it for what it transparently is. It's an attempt to make an exception of Muslims and to strip them of their rights. As we have opposed Jewish exceptionalism in Israel, we oppose Hindu exceptionalism in India. I wrote down many remarks today, but I think I need to cut them way down. And I want to say that I'm so happy that there was a Jewish brother up here today speaking some of the same things that I wanted to say. To say that for too long, Jews have held the Holocaust so close and said it's our particular suffering and it's different from others. But this is not the case. What's happening in India today is a preamble, a terrifying preamble, and if never again is an expression that's going to have any meaning or any force, we need to apply it today. We need to put our feet down now and say, no, never again.
Never again! No! Never again!
We also need to know that being patient with hatred leads to hatred metastasizing and living for many years. Israel has occupied Palestine now for 70 years. It needs to stop. I want to close with one thing that should be really obvious to all of us, but I need to say it. It makes sense that so many Muslims have congregated here today across the country, but there are brothers and sisters here with you. When I go out into the Jewish community and I speak against some Israeli policies, I'm sometimes just one of the few in the community. Jewish Voice for Peace is not always the most beloved member of the Jewish community. And as far as my count goes, there are only a couple of groups that are speaking up as Hindu voices for peace and screaming not in our name. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the Hindus who have joined us here today to protest Modi and say, this may be Hindutva politics, but it is not Hindu. Let's take time to thank the Christians and the Sikhs, the Jews and the Hindus, the Dalits and the secularists, the atheists and Black Lives Matter, who stand here together holding for dear life against sinking to the depths of depravity. Extreme times call for unity, even when there's political differences, and when these differences at other times might seem significant. There will always be political differences between people. That is what politics is about, but in the face of Modi's India, the scope of villainy eclipses our political disagreements and forces us to congregate together and say, Amen. Amen for our coming together.
Thank you. Very important organization, Jewish Voice for Peace.